Hello students, today we shall be talking of tenses. In this particular video, we shall be dealing with the present tense. So let us conquer the fear of tenses. Other two videos on past tense and future tense will be released very soon. Alright, so let us begin this journey of tenses. So let us talk of the word tense. Okay, the word tense has originated from the Latin word tempus, T-E-M-P-U-S, and it basically means time. So if you talk of tenses, you see that we have present tense, we have past tense, and then we also have future tense. So we are dealing with past, we are dealing with present, and we are dealing with future. So the word tense, okay, so the word tense, it means time. No one asks you in exams, all right, in school exams at least no one asks you, but there is no harm in knowing this. No one tells us, okay, the origin of the word tense. So this is what I thought I'll tell you in this particular video, that it has come from the Latin tempus, Latin word tempus. Now before I start with the explanation, I would like to tell you I have referred to the book Wren and Martin. This is an excellent book for clearing your grammar concepts. However, I have tried my best to simplify the concepts, the rules, the exceptions to each rule, and therefore I have tried to simplify each and every point in this particular video. Happy learning. All right. A verb that refers to present time is said to be in present tense. There are three tenses: present tense, past tense, future tense. Further, these tenses are divided into four types. So let us start with present tense. Present tense is divided into simple present tense, present continuous tense, present perfect tense, and present perfect continuous tense. Just like in mathematics, in order to solve a sum, sometimes we have to use and memorize a formula. All right. So I have written all these. I have written for instance, for simple present tense, the formula is subject plus first form of the verb. For present continuous, the formula is subject plus is or am or are plus ing form of the verb. For present perfect tense, the formula is subject plus has or have plus third form of the verb. And for present perfect continuous, the formula is subject plus has or have plus been plus ing form of the verb. Okay, so the formula, each tense has a different formula obviously. Now what is this V1, what is this V3, what is this ing form of the verb? Ing form of the verb you very well know. But when we come to these three forms of the verb, students get confused because they have not memorized. Remember in junior school, we were given a table, first form of the verb, second form of the verb, third form of the verb. Okay, so we have forgotten all that because now everything is just a click away. So do not underestimate, you have to memorize a few things which we have to memorize. So go back to your junior school grammar books and memorize those three forms of verbs. Okay, just for your sake, I thought I'll just give you some examples. So present, past and past participle, these three forms of verbs are called. And a few examples I have written here. Come, came, come, cut, 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 beat, beat, beaten, buy, bought, bought, bring, brought, brought, forget, forgot, forgotten, sing, sang, sung, eat, ate, eaten, drink, drank, drunk. These are just a few examples. Please go back to your grammar school books and memorize all these three forms of verbs. Now, when do we use simple present tense? All right. So, simple present tense is used when we are talking of an action which is a habit or which is happening on a daily basis. For instance, my mother wakes up at 5 a.m. daily. My father drinks tea in the mornings. When we are talking of general truths, for instance, the sun rises in the east. When we are talking of a future event, but it is a part of a fixed timetable. For instance, the next train is at 7 a.m. tomorrow. So, though it is a future event, at the same time, it is something which is happening on a daily basis. It is a fixed timetable, okay? So in such cases also you can make use of simple present tense. When we talk of some quotations, when we quote some famous people, for instance, we can write in simple present, Blake says, all right? Keats says, okay? Something like this. Beauty lies in the eyes of a beholder, and likewise. Now, there are a few things which we do not use in present continuous, and only simple present tense is used. There are such verbs, there are different types of verbs. Which are those verbs? These are the verbs of perception. What do you mean by perception? Something which you can smell, something which you are able to perceive basically. And what are you able to perceive? You are able to see something, you are able to hear something, you are able to smell something, you are recognizing something, okay? So these are your verbs of perception. Verbs of appearing. For instance, you will not tell anybody, you are appearing to be dirty. No. Or you are appearing to be sad. You are appearing to be happy. No, those will be wrong sentences. You say, she appears to be quite happy today. Yes, he looks quite sad to me today. The day seems to be promising. All right. So this is how you are using these verbs, always in present tense. You will not use them in continuous tenses. Now, verbs of emotion, for instance, want. You will not say I am wanting this. You will say I want this. Okay, I want to become an entrepreneur, or I wish I was there at this point of time. Okay, I feel, I like, I love, I hate. So generally, these are the verbs. You can memorize these verbs. Please remember, you memorize these verbs. Generally, these are not used in continuous tenses. Now, in the beginning of my video, I committed a mistake deliberately. Just see if you are able to notice that mistake or not. Okay, one of these verbs from the category A to E, I committed a mistake deliberately. If you are able to notice that mistake, you can write it in my comment. You can you can mention that in the comment box. Okay, so verbs of thinking, for example, think, suppose, believe. For instance, you will not say I am trusting, or I am knowing, or you will be knowing. No, it will be used as know only. Now, when we talk of possessions, okay, something which you possess, something which belongs to you, something which is possessed, or which is owned by you or by somebody. In such cases also, we do not use present continuous. We stick to simple present tense, except of course when it is used in passive voice. Okay. Now, when do we use present continuous tense? So as the name suggests, we are talking of an action which is going on at the time of speaking. For instance, I am preparing this video on present tense. She is singing. The boys are playing football. So anything for any action that is going on at the time of speaking, that is when we use present continuous tense. Okay, and if we apply the formula, what was the formula? If you remember, subject plus is, am or are plus ing form of the verb. Okay, so if according to the subject, okay, according to the subject, you have to pick up your verb and make them agree with each other and frame your sentence. If there is any confusion regarding subject-verb agreement, you can see my video on subject-verb agreement also. Alright, next point. When we are talking of a temporary action which may not be actually happening at the time of speaking. For instance, when we say, my parents are visiting me next month. Now, this is something which is not happening at the time of my speaking, but something which is happening in the next month. I can talk like this in present continuous tense, something which has been planned, right? I am taking yoga classes. Now, in this particular sentence, you are not taking the yoga class right now, but in general, you are saying these days I am taking yoga classes. I am reading this particular book. Okay, so you are reading. These days you are reading, and right now you may or may not read, but you can use these sentences in present continuous tense for a temporary action which may not be actually happening when you are speaking. Okay. Next, an action that has been arranged to take place in the near future. Okay, something very similar to point 2 only. So you can say, I am going to the Golden Temple tomorrow. My sister is arriving tomorrow, and likewise. Now, when we said this in the previous slide, of course, we said this, that we are using simple present for a habitual action. Now, there is again an exception to this when the reference is to a particularly obstinate habit, something which is persisting in spite of any advice, warning, request. Still that habit persists. We can use present continuous with with an adverb. For instance, the adverbs can be always, constantly, repeatedly, continually, and like that. For instance, look at this example. My pet is very naughty. He is always running out into the garden. So you will not say he runs out into the garden. Why? Because this is something which you have been trying to check. This you have been trying to stop. You have been telling him not to do this. But here you are telling the person that my pet is naughty and he is always running out into the garden. So what are we doing here? We are basically giving a reference to a particularly obstinate habit of my pet. Okay, and in that case we are talking of present continuous tense. Okay, you must have heard your parents also talking to you like this many times, and if they talk to you like if they say that you know you are if they point out something in simple present tense, you can tell them that this is something which is persisting, so you are supposed to be using simple, not simple present, but present continuous tense. Okay, now in the previous slide we have already discussed that there are some words which are normally not used in the continuous form and instead they are used in simple present form. Which are those verbs? We have already discussed in the previous slide. Now, when do we use present perfect tense? What is the formula? Subject plus has or have plus third form of the verb. Okay. So, when we are indicating some activities which have been completed in the immediate past and we use the word just with them. For example, she has just completed the assignment. Okay. It has just struck 11. My friend has just finished reading a novel. Then it can be used to express past actions whose time is not given and also it is not definite. For instance, my brother has been to Venice. We have never known Mrs. Goswami to be angry. Have you read the particular book that you are talking of? Then to describe past events when we think more of their effect in the present than of the action itself. Gopi has eaten all the biscuits. Please try and understand this rule. To describe past events when we think more of their effect in the present than of the action itself. For instance, what is the effect of this that Gopi has eaten all the biscuits? What does it mean? That none is left for me or for anybody else. She has cut her finger. What is the result? What is the effect of it? She is bleeding. I have finished my cooking. That means I am free now, or it also means that you can eat now. The food is ready. So we are talking of the events and we are talking of more of their effect in the present than of the action itself. To denote an action beginning at some time in the past and continuing up to the present moment. And generally in such sentences we use since and for. And such sentences are also used in present perfect continuous tense also. For instance, when you say I have known you for a long time now. Yes, you are talking in present perfect tense. We have stayed in Jodhpur for 7 years. We haven't seen Rohit for several months. So in all these sentences you are dealing with present perfect tense. Now the present perfect tense, please remember, they are never used with adverbs of past time. For instance, you should not say that I have gone to Chennai yesterday. No, I went to Chennai yesterday. Simple past tense is used when you are specifically talking of the past. Alright. So let's go on to the present perfect continuous now. Now, when do we use present perfect continuous tense? What is the formula? Subject plus has or have plus been, B-E-N, been, plus ing form of the verb. Okay. So it is used for an action which began at some time in the past and it is still going on. For instance, I have been reading since morning. He has been attending online classes since 9 a.m. They have been staying in Bangalore since 2010. Boys have been playing for 2 hours. When this tense is used for an action already finished, the continuity of the activity is emphasized as an explanation of something. What does this mean? For instance, if look at this question and then look at the answer. Why is your head spinning? I have been writing since morning. So what is happening here? This tense is used for an action which has already finished. The continuity of the activity is emphasized as an explanation of something. For instance, my head is spinning. Why is it spinning? Because I have been writing since morning. I have been watering the plants, so my clothes are wet. Okay. So this is where present perfect continuous is required. Now let us quickly recapitulate whatever we have done. Alright, so finally let us conclude whatever we have done. We have done the present tense, all 4 types of present tense: simple present, present continuous, present perfect and present perfect continuous. We have done the formula of each of these tenses. We have also learnt how and when are we using these tenses. We have also learnt that it is important for us to revise and memorize 3 forms of verbs. And finally, last but not the least, there are various rules and some of the rules do have exceptions which we have to remember. If there is still any doubt, you can leave a comment in the comment box. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you.